Cora in Taos, New Mexico. Hey, Cora, thanks for listening to KVOT. What's on your mind today?
Well, I love you, Tom, but, for some of us, all we have left now is our voice. And so some of us are going to vote for Jill Stein because we've been out in the streets, we've been calling and writing our Congress and Senate, and they're not paying attention.
So you're going to vote for Jill Stein even though her top 5 donors are from corporations like AON, Zoom, Global Money Transfer, IBM, ThoughtWorks, and UPS?
Tom, I've talked to local people here that are part of the hierarchy in the party. They're the local county members, and they say, there's corruption everywhere. So, in other words,
So you're going to vote for Jill Stein, who has absolutely no experience in politics other than being on the town council in lily white, upper middle class Lexington, Massachusetts for one term?
You know what? Bernie Sanders has told people to go out even though they don't have any experience because they will get it when they go into office. So you can argue both ways.
Not for President of the United States. And Bernie right now is the ranking member of the Senate Committee on the Budget. He is on the Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources. He's a member of the Subcommittee on Energy, the Subcommittee on National Parks, the Subcommittee on Water and Power, the Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works, Clean Air and Nuclear Safety, Fisheries, Waters and Wildlife, Subcommittee on Transportation and Infrastructure, Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor and Pensions, the Primary Health and Retirement Service, Security. He's a member of the Subcommittee on Children and Families, and he's the ranking member of the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs. This is a guy who has worked his life, worked his butt off throughout his life to actually get things done. Jill Stein pops up every 4 years to be the star of the show, and that's it. She, she has no political experience and doesn't have any interest in it.
Is meritocracy the way you want to do things, which is not, everybody?
No, what I want to do is I want to elect politicians who will do things. If you think that voting for Jill Stein, which will get you Donald Trump, is an okay thing, again, I would say it's check your white privilege, please. There are, what are you going to say to the millions of immigrants that he rounds up and puts in camps?
People of color who are going to vote for Jill Stein.
Well, just because other people are stupid doesn't mean you should be.
Well, that you could say the same thing for people voting for whoever, Tom.
Yeah, I shouldn't say stupid. I'm sorry.
Voice things every which way. But the thing is, as I said, when there are those of us who have nothing left, this is our one way of protesting, because as I said, when you go into the streets and they don't pay attention, what do you feel like doing? You feel like protesting.
Jill Stein has refused to release her tax returns. I just see her as a bottom feeder. She's out there. The clip I saw over the weekend when she was speaking at the Green Party convention was, we're continuing the Bernie revolution. BS. Jill Stein is about as far from the Bernie revolution as you can get. She is a political opportunist. Period. Full stop. I narrated the debate between her and Gary Johnson. Larry King and I did this 4 years ago. Her positions, the list of positions that she goes through are brilliant, but she is a vanity candidate. She is a vanity candidate.
Tom, I've heard you say many times that most people that enter politics are narcissistic and sociopaths. So what does that leave us with? You can't have it both ways. You can't ask for Mr. Smith goes to Washington but say, oh, yeah, he wouldn't get anything done. So, and most people have advisors. Nobody can know everything at all.
Cora, Jill is not even on the ballot in a third of the states in this country. She's a vanity candidate. She's doing it to just, it's like, hey, let's get some money from the rubes.
Well, gee, how many other people are in politics that do the same thing?
Well, but they actually get elected. She's not going to get elected to anything. She's only been elected to anything once in her whole life, and that was the city council in lily white Lexington, Mass, where she did nothing. I mean, this is...
So how are you going to expect to ask people to step up to the plate that have never done anything before? It's like asking people to apply for a job, but do you have to have experience?
No, it's not like asking somebody to apply for a job. It's like voting for a candidate. And you've got a choice right now. You can choose for, you can vote for Hillary Clinton and hope that, and I think in all probability have some assurance that... You don't even want me to finish the sentence, huh, Cora?
Well, I'm sorry. I really do love you, Tom. I really do. But, you know, a lot of us are so frustrated, and we feel like we're not being listened to and that we're just being told to shut up and vote for Hillary.
Yeah. Well, I'm frustrated, too. I would have much rather seen Bernie as the candidate. I think he would have been a stronger candidate against Donald Trump. I've said it a million times. But what we have right now as the Democratic nominee is Hillary Clinton, and she ain't half bad. And you know, there are a number of areas where I disagree with her and where I disagree with President Obama, for that matter. But the areas where I agree with her are huge compared to the areas where I disagree, number one. And number two, you know, a Trump presidency, you know, let's round up the immigrants. Let's throw the Muslims out. Let's force women using the power of government to continue their pregnancies, even if they have deformed babies. Let's privatize Social Security and turn it over to Wall Street. Let's go with the Pete Peterson solution. Let's voucherize Medicare and turn everything over to the banksters. Let's privatize our public roads. Let's, you know, I mean, it just goes on and on. If you look at the Trump-Pence platform, it is the most god-awful thing. And it completely contradicts the few things that Donald Trump says that actually are getting him votes, like he's going to take on NAFTA and CAFTA and TPP and all this, when his running mate is the biggest proponent of this stuff, and the Republican platform clearly calls for more of the same. I can't afford... Actually, I can, you know, as a wealthy white guy, I can afford to have a crazy guy in the White House, assuming he doesn't blow us up, who puts crazy people on the Supreme Court, who roll back the rights of women, who roll back the rights of people of color, who make it harder for young people, elderly people to vote. I can afford all that, right? You know, Louise and I, we could go buy a cabin in the woods in Vermont and never pay attention to politics again. But people of color in this country can't afford it. Young people in this country with $1 trillion worth of student debt can't afford it. Older people in this country who depend on Social Security can't afford it. Immigrants and families who have immigrants in them, like my family, can't afford it. And it's just, it is a white privilege luxury that I'm not going to take, Cora. You know, and if you choose
Tom, I understand what you're saying, but, you know, I heard Thomas Frank the other day, and he says when we're voting for Hillary, he says she's probably going to get it. We're postponing this fight. And then another 4 to 8 years from now, we'll be still having a Bernie candidate or a Trump candidate.
He's absolutely right.
Have to fight
he's absolutely right. And during those 4 years, if you have Hillary Clinton in office, you will at the very least get rational candidates for the Supreme Court, people who she's said that her litmus test is going to be whether they're going to strike down Citizens United. Donald Trump has said his litmus test is going to be whether they're going to vote to force women to maintain their pregnancies no matter what. That's the difference. And you have a choice. And or you can choose not to participate by voting for Jill Stein or Gary Johnson. And I honor that choice, Cora. If you want to do that, I can't stop you. I'm not going to try to stop you. I'm just saying this is how I'm viewing this. This is how I'm thinking about it. I may be wrong. You might be entirely right.
No, I hear you, Tom, and God bless you. I love you. So, yeah.
Thank you, Cora. Thank you. And
okay.
Thanks for a good conversation. I appreciate it.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.